Alright, so today, we're diving into something a little darker, but super important. I've got 10 disturbing events from American history that happened before 1990. These aren't just textbook facts. They're moments that really shook the country. And honestly, once you hear some of these, you'll understand why people still talk about them today. Okay, number 1 is the Jonestown Massacre in 1978. This one gives me chills every time. Over 900 people died in a jungle in Guyana, all followers of this cult, led by Jim Jones. They were mostly Americans who had followed him down there hoping for utopia, but what they got was a nightmare. He convinced, and in many cases forced, them to drink cyanide-laced punch. It's where the phrase, drinking the Kool-Aid, actually comes from. And trust me, the real story is way darker than that expression makes it sound. Number 2 is the Manson family murders in 1969. Charles Manson was this manipulative guy who convinced a group of young followers to commit brutal murders on his behalf. The most famous was the killing of actress Sharon Tate, who was 8 months pregnant. And it wasn't just one night, it was a spree. He didn't even do the killings himself, which somehow makes it even creepier, just the control he had over people. Number 3, the Kent State shootings in 1970. This was wild because it happened on a college campus. Students were protesting the Vietnam War, and the National Guard opened fire on them. They killed 4 students. These were kids just standing up for what they believed in. That photo of the girl kneeling over one of the bodies? If you've seen it, you'll never forget it. Okay, number 4 is the assassination of JFK in 1963. I mean, you probably already know the basics. President Kennedy was shot while riding in a motorcade in Dallas. But this one sticks with people because there's still so much debate about what really happened. Was it just Lee Harvey Oswald? Was there a conspiracy? It shook the nation like nothing else at the time. Number 5 is the Tuskegee syphilis study, which is just plain horrifying. From 1932 to 1972, hundreds of black men with syphilis were intentionally left untreated so doctors could study how the disease progressed. They were lied to and told they were getting free health care. It's just evil. And it wasn't that long ago, which makes it even harder to process. Number 6 is the My Lai massacre in 1968 during the Vietnam War. American soldiers killed more than 500 unarmed civilians in a village. And these weren't enemy soldiers. These were women, kids, elderly people. It got covered up at first, but when it came out, huge scandal. It totally changed how people saw the war. Moving on to number 7, the bombing of Black Wall Street in 1921. This was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A thriving black community was burned to the ground by a white mob. Hundreds of people were killed, and thousands lost their homes. And it was basically erased from history books for decades. Only recently have more people started learning the full scope of it. Number 8 is the Challenger disaster in 1986. This one really hit home for so many families, especially because it was on live TV. A space shuttle exploded just 73 seconds after liftoff. All 7 astronauts died, including Krista McAuliffe, who was going to be the first teacher in space. I mean, schools across the country were watching that launch live. It was devastating. Number 9 is the McCarthy era in the 1950s. This wasn't one single event, but a whole time period of fear and paranoia. Senator Joe McCarthy basically accused anyone he didn't like of being a communist. Actors, writers, even regular people lost their jobs. It was like a witch hunt. If someone said your name, your life could be ruined, even without proof. And finally, number 10, the Atlanta child murders, which happened from 1979 to 1981. At least 28 black children and young adults were murdered. It took years for the case to get real attention, and even now, a lot of people think the investigation was handled poorly, possibly because of racism. One man, Wayne Williams, was convicted for 2 of the adult murders, but many families still question whether he was responsible for all of them. I know, that's a heavy list, but these are the stories that help us understand the country's darker chapters, and why it's so important to stay informed, to learn from the past. If any of these stuck with you, I'd love to know which one. Seriously, some of these deserve a whole video on their own.